Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to kick off now. So just a quick introduction. I'm David Hook. I'm the product manager for Micro Focus here at CMS. Today, we're going to go through the Platespin and Barracuda offering and why it's important to you and your customers with their cloud migrations. We're going to start off with Micro Focus and talk about the Platespin technology. We've got Doug on the line from Micro Focus, who's going to go through that, and then we're going to talk about the Barracuda offering from James at Barracuda. So I'm going to pass over now to Doug, who's going to go through Platespin for us.
Guys, thank you very much for taking the time to see our webinar today. My name is Douglas Carvalho-Ribeiro, and I'm the Platespin sales specialist covering the whole EMEA. Right, so we're going to talk about cloud and data center migration today, right? So the reason for this is how can it help you guys to deliver those projects on time and not budget with our software. Right. So before I jump into there, just going to talk to you who is Micro Focus. Right, in September 2017, Micro Focus PLC merged with the software assets of HPE to create the 7th largest pure play software company in the world, right? So it became very relevant to the IT industry today. So what we do, we provide our customers with a best-in-class portfolio of enterprise-grade scalable software with analytics built in. So our mission statement is there, right? We put customers at the center of our innovation and build high-quality products that our customers can rely on and our teams and partners can be proud of. So in terms of, talking about the cloud, right? So we are very proud to say that we are the only vendor in the market today that have an end-to-end story when it comes to data center and cloud migration portfolio, right? So we can go through all the way in terms of discovering applications, full stack, right? Run technical, business and financial surveys on applications, and then capture resource utilization. And then it comes to analyze, right? You need to analyze before and do an assessment before you start considering migrating to the cloud, right? So choosing migration strategy and target based on application readiness, let's say size, cost, network, security, etc. Right? So that gives you an idea what application is ready to migrate to the cloud, what cloud makes is suite best for your business. Right? When you have that decision made, then you have to plan the migration itself. Right? So we're going to define, you create a migration project. And then you're going to have, you can do then waves and batches, so you're going to run a book migration. And then it comes to the migration itself, right? So this is a very important, but we called it a more lift and shift application with Platespin Migrate. And then to release, that's when you have to reconfigure applications on target, you make sure it's running how it's supposed to. So today we're very, very glad to say that we have the end-to-end full story when it comes to data center cloud migration. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction what Platespin is, right? So Platespin is a workload management solution that moves entire server workloads consisting of a Windows or Linux operating system and everything installed on it, right? So what do I mean by that? Is all its applications, data, and configuration, right? So Platespin enables entire business services to be migrated to new platforms, whether they are physical, virtual, or cloud platforms. So as I said earlier, this is also referred to as a lift and shift or rehost approach. So as you can see on this picture, we cover and we support the major cloud providers or even on a virtualized world. So when you're talking about data center transformation, right? So this is what we mean, right? This is what the scenarios are. So Platespin is used widely by service providers like yourselves and also enterprises to deliver data center transformation projects. These projects usually involve data center reallocation or consolidation, virtual-to-virtual migration, might involve a change of hypervisor, for example, VMware to Hyper-V or vice versa. Migrations also often involve some sort of managed services, for example, enterprises outsourcing for the first time or switching between managed service providers. Migration projects, as we know, increasingly involve cloud platforms. It's all about the cloud today, right? So, which might involve public cloud, such AWS or Azure, or a private or hybrid cloud managed by a service provider. So some organizations are still on the journey towards virtualization, converting physical servers to virtual machines, or they might still have some physical servers that they wish to replace with a new physical hardware. So Platespin can deliver all those types of transformations and more. So this is our mission statement, right? So we know the organizations are increasingly looking to the cloud as they seek to transform and streamline their IT operations, and many are adopting a cloud-first approach. So organizations which transform quickly, but also to minimize the risk, and so majority of the business services are migrated to the cloud as it is, right? Once the service is running in the cloud, organizations start to redesign, optimize the service to migrate and minimize the operating costs. So our mission statement is to help you guys, partners and enterprises, to migrate the service, whatever you're doing as a outsourcing or service provider, to a more profitable platform. How you want to get there? You want to get there faster, right? Without less risk, and as well, but what, above all, of a lower risk. So in terms of the way we see these trends today is this: standardization reduce cost, errors, and execution time. And so the service providers need a single solution that supports every migration scenario, right? As long as it's a Windows and Linux, physical, virtual, and clouds, these reduce the cost of ownership through a single investment in software, operating procedures, and training, right? So in addressing those core challenges, we believe Platespin ultimately enables enterprises and service providers to minimize the cost of performing complex transformation projects, make them more competitive in the marketplace, right? So we're very happy to say that Platespin is the leader in workload migration, have been used by service providers and enterprise to migrate more than 1 million workloads today, right? So we've been, Platespin been in the market for over 15 years, so we know it's an enterprise great solution. So here is just to go through once more, and I only got a few minutes to talk about Platespin here today, but I'm sure you're going to have loads of questions, how we do that and what's the best practices, and I can share loads of information with you. But the bottom line is this, right? So what makes Platespin different, right, is high levels of scalability and automation. What do I mean by that? You can actually migrate 40 workloads to one single migration server, right? So you can actually deploy many servers or VMs out there, and then you do a very high level of scalability in terms of migrating workloads. In automation, we have the highest level of automation in the market today. So when you talk about testing, right, you need to make sure when you're migrating your customers' workloads, you need to test before it gets there, right? So Platespin put testing at the heart of our solution. So you can migrate, you can test it, as many times as you want before you do the final cut over. So in terms of, we have a unique planning and execution capability, right? In terms of, we have two different solutions here, which called Transformation Man and the Platespin Migrate, as I said. but the transformation manager plan and automatically configure each migration activities with Platespin Migrate, right? So in terms about full and incremental replication, testing and cutover as per usual process, right? Cuts the different needs of business, which means Platespin is the only solution in the market today can migrate from anywhere to anywhere. And we have the most mature migration solution for Linux workloads and their own enterprise-grade workload migration solution, which means you can test it downtime, have near zero downtime because have loads of incremental replication before you do the cut over. And then once it's running in the new home or the new platform, if you like, then you can test it before you go live, right? So I wasn't really planning to talk about licensing here, but we get loads of questions, you know, how do you license, how much it costs? So we can get back to CMS to talk about how much it costs. But I'm just gonna run quickly here in terms of, you know, if you have one server to migrate, you just need one license. We have two different licensing model. One is perpetual. You can actually migrate that same workload as many times as you want. That's as long as it's that same server. And on a project license, once you migrate that server, the license expires. You know, I wasn't talking about products, but you know, as I mentioned before, the transformation manager is a planning capability, which gives you a way better to understand where your project is today and how you're going to deliver that project on budget and on time. I think that covers everything, Dave.
Yeah, thanks for that, Doug. That's great. So yeah, I think you know, there's some key takeaways we can take away from that, and we'll go over those at the end. But we're going to pass over now to James at Barracuda, who's just going to talk to us about the Barracuda cloud offering.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so here today, got roughly about 15 minutes just to give you a very high-level overview of Barracuda and what we can do here in the public cloud. I don't know how much many of you on the line know about Barracuda, or you may know us from an on-premise world. But I sit in the public cloud team here at Barracuda, and what we're really doing here is, in simple terms, it's all around securing the connectivity to the public cloud. And once you've got your applications deployed in the public cloud, whether that be AWS, Azure, or the Google Cloud, we can protect those applications that are working there. So it's all around secure connectivity and connectivity of them public-facing applications that are deployed in the public cloud. Okay, we've been working with the major cloud vendors for roughly about just over 4 years now. And we've been speaking to a number of partners or a number of customers, and we realized that there's a lot of confusion about who takes care of what when it comes to security. So last summer, just to set the scene a little bit for you guys, we commissioned a survey around public cloud usage, and the results were quite surprising, which we're going to touch on further in the presentation. But here at Barracuda, we don't believe that traditional firewalls are cloud ready. Okay, and this is where the Barracuda, how we've positioned ourselves against our major competitors and how we've innovated our firewalls over the years. Okay, so this is what a lot of the guys and what your customers will be used to, and what you would be used to when it comes to your environments. So in previous years, you know, you've had your headquarters and your data centers, and they'd be protected by you know, an enterprise-grade data center firewall. So some of the major vendors out there that we all know. So everything will be protected by maybe a web application firewall and a firewall for all of their applications that sat within your environment. And over the years, obviously, these environments would have changed. So we can see you've got the headquarters, but we've got branch offices as well. So when it comes to the branch offices, all of your applications that are in the data center, you're backhauling your traffic through the data set to the data center through your firewall, which makes sense and what we've known over the years. But as time's moved on, obviously environments have become a lot more dispersed, and the role of the firewall has changed. So we've got here IoT devices, or these could be remote workers or more offices. As we said, the environment's getting a lot more dispersed. So, but in some environments of customers we're seeing, these could be IoT devices, such as these could be ATM machines, point of sale devices, anything internet connected. We've got some of our customers in the US, these could be internet connected fridges and freezers in some major supermarkets. So all of this, the environment's getting a lot more dispersed. And as you can see here, we've got an MPLS backhaul, all of your data through your firewall to your applications that are running in your data center. But as you know, and as we all know, not everything is now sat in the data center. Over the years, people have started to use SaaS solutions such as Salesforce, Office 365. So again, to access these applications, we're going through the data center in this environment and going through your enterprise-grade firewall, which is kind of a little bit more complex when you're a remote worker. Why do I have to go back through my data center to reach some applications that are deployed in as a SaaS solution? So like I said, Salesforce or Office 365. But not only that, and I'm sure a lot of you guys on the line now have got relationships with the major public cloud vendors. These applications can now be sat in AWS or Azure. So we're backhauling all of that traffic through your firewall that's on premise. So you're going through the firewall and then getting the rights to go out to your applications that are maybe running in Azure to get that application, to then go back through the firewall and then out to your IoT device or your remote site or wherever it may be. So here at Barracuda, that's not making sense to us. The role of the firewall has changed, and we don't need one breakout. We don't need one central point for all your traffic to go through. So here what we're talking about with Barracuda is, in an ideal world, what we'd like is direct access to them applications wherever they may be, whether they're in your data center, whether they're Office 365 or deployed in one of the three major cloud platforms that we support here, AWS, Azure, and the Google Cloud. So what we can do here at Barracuda and what we recommend is deploying our Barracuda next generation firewall. As I mentioned, this is all around secure connectivity, securing your applications wherever they are, to make it easier for the environment. So as you can see here, this is what we're proposing. So deploying these Barracuda next gen firewalls in your data center, on your IoT devices, at your remote sites, in AWS, in Azure, wherever it may be, and giving you direct connectivity to reach that application. With this direct connectivity, as I mentioned, it's a secure VPN tunnel with quality of service, so you can prioritize your bandwidth over that. But this is just giving you access to all of your applications, no matter where you would be, and direct application, rather than backhauling all of that traffic across an MPLS connection through your data center back out to Azure or AWS. Okay, so what we can actually do here in certain instances is eliminate the use for an MPLS connection, or if it's not eliminating it, because we understand that you sometimes need your MPLS connection, it's actually enhancing that with quality of service. So whether it's an IoT device and you don't need an MPLS connection, but your branch offices may do, we understand that, but we can actually enhance that, and I'll touch on that further into the presentation. Okay, but with the Barracuda next gen firewalls, all around secure connectivity. So as I mentioned, it's around giving you access to your applications no matter where it may be, but that's offering IPS and IDS. You've got the option of URL filtering and intrusion prevention. But these firewalls are application and user aware. So can that user access that application? Yes, no, it's all application aware. And we can dynamically scale with your customer's network. So we know with the cloud, it's all around elasticity, switching things on and off when required. We can scale, we're using APIs, we can scale with that network to make sure that we're moving with your customer and with the public cloud environment as and when required. Okay, and with these firewalls as well, we have zero-touch deployment. So what we mean here is what we can actually do when we're deploying, you know, this could be 3, 4 firewalls up to tens of thousands of firewalls that we're deploying for our customers. But we make it nice and easy for these remote locations, because we know that some of these locations that you might be deploying these firewalls in, there might not be any IT expertise there. So we can actually have zero-touch deployment where you buy it through, obviously they'll buy it through the partner, through CMS, but then it comes to Barracuda, we ship that, if it's a physical device, a virtual device, or an Azure instance, we deploy that directly to, whether it's physical, ship it directly, or spin that up in Azure directly to the end user. We can plug that in, it will feed back centrally, download all its configuration, and then you can deploy that. Without any IT expertise. So when that's very, very effective in really dispersed environments when we're deploying a lot of these firewalls. Okay, but as I mentioned, the Barracuda Cloud Gen firewalls are user and application aware. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, when you're, in this example is for Azure, but it's the same with AWS, they may want direct connectivity to the public cloud with an MPLS connection. So for instance, here we've got an express route with Azure. But what we can actually do here is if you deploy the NG firewall or the cloud generation firewall in Azure, and you deploy one on-premise, whether that be a physical appliance or a virtual instance, we can create a VPN tunnel over that express route. And what we can do here, as I mentioned, is we can use our quality of service, so we can prioritize your customers' mission-critical traffic to make sure they're getting the best usage out of their MPLS connection and their Azure Express route. Then what we can also do here, as well as giving them the quality of service, is you've actually got redundancy as well. So we've got 3G failover. So for whatever reason, if their MPLS connection may go down, their Express route may go down, we can fall back over to our VPN tunnel, so they've still got access to them applications, even though their MPLS connection is down. So any applications that they're accessing in Azure, they can still have access to. Okay, and with our cloud generation web application firewall, it does exactly the same job as a web application firewall would do on premise. To be honest, it's inbound and outbound inspection, protecting against the OWASP top 10 and DDoS attacks. We have proactive defenses such as application cloaking and geo-IP control. So anything, right, if your customer wants to deploy their website in the public cloud, they can sit a Barracuda web application firewall in front of that. Can that traffic access your website? Yes, we'll pass that through. No, we'll block that traffic and it won't have access to your websites. Then on the outbound, we also have DLP, so we can protect against the leak of credit card numbers and custom patterns. But as I mentioned, the web application firewall would do exactly as the web application firewall would do on premise. It's an all-in-one security platform, so we have the DDoS and the security protection. We can offer load balancing and server health monitoring. We can log in and reporting of all the activity, so everything that's looking to access your public-facing applications that are deployed in the public cloud. But in summary, like I said, I've only got a short time to speak to you guys today. But in summary, here's a very, very quick overview of what we're doing with our next-gen firewall and our web application firewall. Prioritizing the traffic, so we can make sure that we're giving the priority of your bandwidth to them applications that are deployed in the public cloud, and we can protect against everything that's on screen here. So remote access users, internet activity, data breaches, DDoS attacks, we can protect against all of that. Plus a lot more, but this is, like I said, this is a quick, very, very quick overview of what we can actually protect against. But here's what it means to you guys. So this is actual an Azure consumption graph from Microsoft that we've actually stolen from them, but it's for a customer in the UK. So they sign up for their Azure and they're using Dev and Test. They're worried about using their mission critical workloads in the public cloud. They've deployed Barracuda next-gen firewalls and they deployed Barracuda web application firewalls, and they can move their mission critical workloads into the public cloud. And as you can see here, that's every time there's an arrow there, every time there's a peak, that's when they're deploying more Barracuda firewalls to move more workloads over to the public cloud. So this is where the big thing is here for you guys is when you've got your customers using it for dev and test, or maybe running a marketing campaign in the public cloud, but they're worried about using it in anger and running their mission critical workloads in the public cloud, we can give them the look and feel as they have on premise of their exact same security features and functionality that they're used to in the public cloud, so they can feel safe to move their websites over, their SAP environments over, their SharePoint farms, whatever it may be. But we can really increase consumption within your end users by giving them the look and feel and the feeling that they can move their applications into the public cloud securely. Okay, so I know that was a very, very brief overview of what we can do here, but just to give you an update, I mean, we've been working with Microsoft for over 4 years. We're their ISV of the year for 2016. We have over 4 million hours worth of Barracuda devices running in the public cloud. And off the back of that, Microsoft can't work this out accurately, but they believe there's a 20x multiplier behind that of workloads we freed up for their customers to deploy their applications in the public cloud. We were the first security solution in Azure, and we were the first with our web application firewall and our next-gen firewalls. And then within AWS, we're the first vendor with the security competency for the web application firewall and the next-gen firewall. And we also have their largest bank deployed in AWS and their largest deal within AWS, which encompasses an ISV such as Barracuda. So we've got very, very close relationships with both vendors, but it's all about releasing them workloads to give your customers the look and feel to deploy their solutions in the public cloud.
Thank you very much, James. Just some takeaways from today. Obviously, we've got the kind of both vendors are mentioned on there with solutions selling to customers, and what we're looking at with the Micro Focus piece and the Platespin is how you're getting your customers to the cloud, and Barracuda is securing it once you're there. So hopefully you've got some useful information from that today. Please feel free to contact us. So David Hooker here at CMS, the Micro Focus product manager, and Dan Shortman as the Barracuda product manager here at CMS. So feel free to give those guys if you want any more information, or obviously your account manager here at CMS. Deal registration can be done for both respective vendors on the partner portals. Again, reach out to us as partner programs, and we can give you more information on that. So thank you very much for everyone for joining today. There's also, if you do want to, Barracuda do offer courses for resellers as well. So if you want to get trained up, and it's something we're always looking for, to get you, there's a lot of services revenue to be made around this. And if you can be an Azure certified, you can give someone a solution to say you're looking at moving into Azure, you're looking at moving into AWS, you're moving all your things to the public cloud. We can help you do that. We can also secure, and we'll move it there for you, and you can do some real solutions, services, a lot of revenue to be made around that, and we can offer those courses. Thank you very much for all joining. That's the end of the webinar now. Thank you. Cheers.